right, good evening, everyone. Just a few reminders before we get going. As a courtesy to your fellow media members, coaches, and student athletes, we ask that you please silence your cell phones and remember that videotaping the press conference on your cell phone is prohibited. We have two mic runners in the room. Please wait for the microphone to reach you before asking a question. When you get the microphone, please provide your name and media affiliation and who you are directing your question towards. If you are joining us on Zoom, please use the raised hand function. For questions, we will address questions in the room first and then take questions from Zoom if time permits. Now joining us is members of the LSU Tigers, head coach Jay Johnson, and student athletes Jared Jones and Cade Anderson. Gentlemen, congrats on an incredible season and for making it to Omaha. Coach, if you want to start out with an opening statement, and we'll get the questions for the student athletes.
Yeah, great 2025 for our team and our program. I'm very proud of our team. Felt like they're very deserving of being in Omaha. Very consistent from the start of the season through a tough SEC schedule and obviously the postseason. And it's as a coach, it's a pleasure to coach great players like Cade and Jared that also are exceptional people. And the common thread of the teams we've brought here has been that. And can't wait for Saturday night. Really excited. Great opponent. Should be a great night for college baseball, and we're honored to be here.
Start with questions for the student athletes.
Hunt Palmer with Guarantee Media. Jared, you've watched a lot of games and played in games in this ballpark, and they're played differently based on the weather. Do you pay any attention to that when you dig in park to park with the conditions and how you approach at bat to at bat?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing is going to be plate discipline, obviously. The strike zone is going to be the same no matter the weather conditions, and so for me, I'm just going to have to do a good job of controlling the zone, and then just, based off of how the wind's playing, obviously hard and low line drives are going to do best for me. Just keep me in a good tight swing regardless of the weather. And home runs will be home runs, line drives are line drives. So just kind of staying in a good swing on good pitches in the zone.
Michael Cobble, WBRZ TV in Baton Rouge for Cade and for Jared. We could start with Jared if you want. Just could you guys saw what last year's team looked like and how it was built, and then you saw the work that Jay and the staff did to kind of assemble this team. Can you speak to the job that they did of getting the right pieces, the complementary pieces that you need to get to Omaha and potentially win here?
Yeah, I think he did a great job. Obviously we lost a good bit of guys the last 2 years to the draft, and then the way college baseball is, guys are transferring in and out. And I think we have a good blend of guys who have been here for 3 years and who have proven themselves at other places and transferred in, and then freshmen who, are probably the best high school players to come out of their high school. So it's just been a good blend of all three kind of types of players on this team. And then coaches have done a great job of kind of making sure we are all bought into one plan and being tough and together.
Yeah, I think it starts with the leaders on our team, and Jared and Josh have helped a lot. Kind of just laying the foundation for this is what is expected, and when you play at LSU, this is why you're supposed to come here and win. I think that's one thing that Josh and Jared do a good job of, and once again, Coach Johnson does a really good job of recruiting the right guys, and that was something that I think we all try to continue to maintain is just a healthy locker room.
Lawrence Price with TNT Sports. Cade, you and Anthony have not only been a 1-2 punch, but a 1A, 1B. Can you talk about your relationship with him, how you all have made each other better, and even just the confidence it brings in a field like the Men's College World Series? Yeah,
we're always talking about our success and failures and learning from them as well. And I think those experiences help us a lot. And having a guy like Anthony on our team is fun to watch. And once again, like we said earlier, you bring the good guys in, that's what kind of stuff happens. And I've learned a lot from Anthony, and Coach Yeske has helped both of us out and continuing to learn from each other.
Any more questions for the student athletes?
Jake McKeever, College Baseball Central. Cade, Jay talked about how devastating last year's loss you took it during UNC. I guess, is there any kind of still lingering feelings of unfinished business?
Yeah, I think we're all playing with a chip on our shoulder that was there, and Jared feels that way as well, I'm sure. But yeah, we don't like that bitter taste, and like I said, that LSU plays here often, and there's no reason for us not to be here. And obviously, that it's a game of baseball. You learn from each thing, and we're taking that, and it's not gone. We still have that feeling left in us, and we'll take advantage of that feeling as well.
Joe Menzer, ESPN SEC Network. Could you guys just talk a little bit about going through the SEC, the gauntlet that is, and how that prepares you for the big stage like this, and just kind of the irony of getting here and then you're facing another SEC team right away?
I think it's a good advantage for us. You know, we've already seen Arkansas once this year. Obviously, that was at our place. Now it's a neutral site. But, you know, going through the SEC all year, Coach Johnson talks about, 56-game playoff, and the SEC is 30 games, and every game counts the same. So you got to go out there day in and day out and give it your all. You're going to get tested every day by each and every team. There's not really a bad team in the SEC. Everybody has really talented players, and they're all coached really well. And it's just a good preparation and good training ground for Omaha. And now that we're here, we just got to stick to kind of what's made us successful all year, and not try and do too much or get caught up in the emotions of the game, and just play our brand of baseball.
Yeah, I think there's a reason why you come here and play in the SEC, and having those experiences and learning from them as well. And I think those type of things prepare you for the playoffs. And this is just another week for us, realistically. And Coach Johnson prepares us that way, and we'll be ready when it comes Saturday.
Yeah, we'll stay with that that theme. Cade, could you talk about facing Arkansas's hitters and what you saw from them the first time you saw them? And Jared, if you would speak to the pitching that Arkansas brings to the field.
Yeah, I look at every lineup the exact same, whether that's the first team we played or the last team we played. And realistically, you don't look at a batter. You look at how you're going to pitch each guy. And with Coach Yeski's help, it'll be very just another game. And we'll have a plan, and we'll stick to that, and just continuing to work out there and be present in it.
Yeah, Arkansas's pitching staff is probably one of the best in the country, if not the best, just as far as the talent and the arms that they have. I think back to the weekend series against them. They pitched pretty well. I think we got to them on Saturday, though, and so that's going to give us a lot of confidence going into the weekend. And then just sticking with it, we understand that, there's going to be some times or some innings where we don't score, and maybe we, had guys on base and we left them on, but we just got to stick with it, keep taking quality at bats and getting the next guy to the plate.
Matt Byrne, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Cade, for you, I mean, just with this being a bigger ballpark, a pitcher's ballpark, does that change your approach at all?
No, sir, it doesn't.
Hey guys, Corey Diaz with the USA Today Network and the Daily Advertiser. Cade, for you, having a guy like Kason Evans in a setting like this, how much could he be an X factor for this pitching staff when he's been a guy for 63 games? He's filled a plethora of roles for you guys so far.
Yeah, he's a big time pitcher, and he pitches the best in the big time moments, and that's a really good trait to have. And he gets to learn from this. He's a freshman in college, and learning from these experiences, being able to play in Omaha is a big deal for the future of LSU. And I mean, with all the pitchers on our staff, we're really grateful for the guys we have, and the character shows, and that's why I think we're successful.
Jared, one more question.
Could you guys just talk a little bit about Stephen Millam as a teammate and what he's meant to the team?
Yeah, I actually live with him, so gotten to know him pretty good over the year, and he's been the best shortstop in the country all year long. There's not a day I go over there to first base and catch a throw and it's not, chest high, middle of the bag. And he makes every play. He gloves there. If he can get his glove on it, the play's made. So I know that's been huge for Cade, going out there pitching, knowing he's got a good defense behind him. He brings a lot of energy to the field. He's very competitive, and he wants to win, and he wants to be a really successful baseball player. And I think you see that in the way that he goes about his business.
What kind of roommate is he?
He's a good roommate. We got 4 dogs, so it's a little chaotic, but other than that, he's a good roommate.
Jared, Cade, thanks for your time, and good luck this week.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Now we'll open it up to questions for Coach.
Andrew Rydell, College Baseball Central coach. Can you just talk about the importance of just Cooper Williams coming in as a freshman, being one of the more reliable lefties in the bullpen so far in the back half of the postseason?
Yeah, Cooper's been great. It was a big recruit for us. Obviously got him under unusual circumstances with the coaching change last year at Texas A&M. And he was available, and he was a guy that I'd paid attention to from the time I took the job at LSU. I think he committed at Texas A&M very early in the process, and every time I saw him pitch, it was like, man, I'd love to have that guy. And I think he's very intelligent. He's very mature for his age. He's got a great heartbeat out on the mound. He's athletic. He throws strikes. There's multiple pitches for strikes, and has a great future, but he's a big part of our present. And his ascension, throughout the back half of the season has really, really helped our team, especially in close games like we saw in the Super Regional game too.
Hunt Palmer, Guarantee Media. What have you learned about this ballpark over your times coming here? And you say you kind of build your life around Omaha. Do you build a team based on what you have to do in this ballpark?
That's a really good question. First off, I love it. It's the only ballpark I want to play in this time of year. I think it's much different than the places we play in the SEC. It's much different. But you can't get here unless you have success in the SEC. So I think it'd be very short-sighted to just say, hey, we're going to build our team around this ballpark. I think when you talk about offense, something that I've always tried to take pride in is we have the ability to function however we need to or however the game dictates it, whether that's slugging, home runs, the ability to move the offense, hit with runners in scoring position, situational hit, bunting game. And I think this team is very good at all of that. And I think it does give us a chance or a blueprint to be successful in a place that is much different than we play in throughout the year.
Says it's on. Okay, there he goes. Sorry about that. Corey Diaz with the USA Today Network and the Daily Advertiser. I wanted to ask you about Kason Evans as well. In a setting like this, where you could play multiple games in a very short period of time, just how's he able to sort of be a bridge guy for this pitching staff, and he's just been so versatile for you guys all year long?
Yeah, he's awesome. And much as I said with Cooper, he's very intelligent. He is very mature for his age. And you guys don't see any of this, but when you're in those recruiting battles, if you will, when one's going to tip the scales. And then with the freshman, you got to get him through the professional draft. And when both of those things happened, the commitment to LSU and getting him through the draft, I knew that was a big win for the Tigers. And he's obviously has all the physical talent in the world, but the mental disposition, the makeup, the pitchability, we can really do anything that this team needs with Kason, and he's really answered the bell. If there's a freshman pitcher across the country that has done better than him this year, I'd like to see who that is, because he's had a terrific season and he's built for success here.
Joe Menzer, ESPN and SEC Network. You've been here now 4 times. Obviously, winning the championship is the goal, but what's so special about the whole experience, and how do you kind of keep the kids from not getting overwhelmed by it?
Yeah, that's a good question, and something that we definitely have talked about and paid attention to, because there's only 8 of those guys that were on the national championship team in 2023 that are still here. So, and I actually don't think that's a small number in the current landscape, but most of our team, this is their first time here. I think it's just being mature and being professional. And I want them to enjoy themselves. One of the coolest parts is when you land the plane and then you drive right over here and you walk in and they walk out, and just seeing them smile, and there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears put in the bucket to be here. I want them to enjoy that. And then, we go right over to Creighton and train. Like, we need to be locked in on what we're doing for 90 minutes over there, and then go to a steakhouse last night. Enjoy being there. That's one of our things in the postseason. You advance to the next round, we go eat a steak. And so that was the deal for last night. And then, you come to the practice and the training day, and there's kids wanting autographs and people in the stadium, and there's a palpable buzz. Like, I want them to feel that. They earned that. And then just have the maturity to shift to preparation and execution at the right time. And I'm confident that we can do that.
Jake McKeever, College Baseball Central. Coach, Monsters made just a seamless transition over from second base to shortstop. Was that always the plan, or is that something that he kind of took the next step to move over there?
Yeah, it was an interesting dynamic, actually, because we were looking at it hard in the fall, and right about the time we were going to really go for it and go like, this is what we're doing for 3 weeks, he actually got really sick and missed the last 3 weeks of the fall. So I actually didn't get the look that I wanted to say this is what we were going to do and stamp it. And then it was going to be, you're going to go to the left side. We wanted to move Danny to second base because I thought that was best for him and best for our team. And then it was going to be a shortstop, third base thing with Michael. And, probably about 10 days into scrimmages in the spring, I made up my mind that that's what we were going to do. And he has had the best defensive season of any shortstop that I've ever coached. I think he only has 4 errors. One of them was in game 1 of the Super Regional, and he didn't make the play. It was almost like kind of weird because he has been so good and has really, really lifted our team. And you heard Cade talking about the confidence he has in the defense. A lot of that starts with Steven at shortstop.
Coach, Lawrence Price with TNT Sports. Can you go back to Cade and Anthony, and how important is it to have 2 guys you can hang your hat on at this stage, but then also the differences in the two that make them great as well?
Yes, it's made me very happy, to have 2 pitchers of that caliber. And there's a lot of reasons our team is here playing as one of the last 8 and in the College World Series. And it starts with Cade and Anthony and their performance. I'd say they're far more similar than different. They both have exceptional pitchability with 4 pitches that they throw for a strike. If they're off a little bit, they have something that they can go to remain competitive and get zeros on the board. In terms of differences, the only one is, I really don't have one because it's the trust, the competitiveness, the pitchability, the support for each other. I think you heard Cade speak very, very well about that. They both give us the greatest chance to win, and I am so confident and so comfortable with both of them, and it's given us a lot of flexibility, particularly in the postseason, from the SEC tournament to the regionals of what we can do. And it's been great, and I'm proud of both of them, and they're both going to make a Major League Baseball team very happy here very soon.
Jay, you've spoken to it before about knowing that you needed to add pitching to this team, I guess, but to see the payoff and the way you guys constructed this team, I guess, what are you most proud of and the efforts and what you did to get them here?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. When I came here from Arizona, you were going to have Dylan Cruz for 2 years. That was a massive appeal for taking this job. But we had a lot of work to do of constructing a College World Series or National Championship caliber pitching staff, and I feel like we've had that for the last 3 years. And it does take a lot, when a Kason Evans is visiting your 5 biggest competitors that are at the headline of the front line of the sport, and you have to find a way to get him to say LSU's the spot. That's really competitive, Chase Shores was committed somewhere else and then ended up committing to us. And then you get him on campus, you get him through the draft. He's guns blazing for 19 innings as a freshman and then has Tommy John. Like, that's a thunderbolt because it was so hard to get him in the first place. So I'm very proud of that. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think we're at the forefront of developing pitching in college baseball. And if you look over the last 3 years in terms of draft picks, statistics, national championship, back in Omaha, you can't argue that. There's no better place for a pitcher in the entire country to come right now and develop to be a major leaguer than LSU.
Scott Ravelli with The Advocate. You show remarkable concentration to answer questions with that thumping going on. you in Arkansas, or like a lot of schools, you got guys who can throw 100 miles an hour, over 100 miles an hour, and yet hitters aren't completely overwhelmed. In this tug of war between the proliferation of guys who can throw it really hard and offense, what is allowing your hitters to still be able to hold their own?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the only reason you actually have a chance, or we have a chance, or Arkansas has a chance to do that is two things. Number one, we both have talented players on the position player side of things. And then number two, I don't want to say immune to it, but you kind of get accustomed to seeing this elite pitching. And the more you see something, the more you get a little more comfortable with it. I don't know if comfortable is the word I would use, but I think it's the beauty of playing in our league, which is really tough at times, but you get to the postseason and there's really nothing that you have not seen. And when you feel prepared, you can kind of lay it all out there and feel good about your opportunity to be successful. And they're very talented on the mound. As good a constructed pitching staff as I've probably seen in my time in college baseball, in terms of starters, relievers, arm strength, out pitches, pitchability, the whole deal. And I think they would probably say the same about us. And I think it'll make for a great game on Saturday night.
Noah Darling, College Baseball Central. Coach, in 2023, you were pretty open about the ongoing strategy of this event, and obviously you won a national championship. How do you consider that, thinking back to 2023, here's what worked, here's what won us a championship, while also seeing new team, new set of teams you're competing against?
I think it's all relevant, and I ask the players to use their experience as well for helping us down the road, and as coaches we try to do the same thing. I think, playing 8 games here in 2016 and only playing 2 games in 2021, that really helped us in 2023 as far as helping them understand of what's around the corner. And I think those 8 games in 2023 will help this team, and not necessarily in the construct of there was 8 players that were a part of that and here for the duration from first pitch opening night till holding the trophy, but you just want to help them understand what's around the corner. And there's a lot of things that are around the corner when you're playing the caliber of teams that are here. I mean, there's 8 championship caliber teams in this field, and you look at what everybody did to get here, is pretty impressive. And then you roll the tape of at least our side of the bracket and you go like, this makes a lot of sense. Just because nobody or less people have maybe heard of Murray State, that's a real offense. And I haven't got to their pitchers yet. I watched their offense a little bit this morning. And then UCLA, I played against Coach Savage forever. And, I'm 15 games, 5 years, in the Pac-12. And I can tell you a lot about a lot of those games. So I know how prepared they're going to be. And they did a great job, with their recruiting and that sophomore class with Chalowski and all of that. So a challenge is around the corner. We'll have one Saturday, we'll have one Monday. And then you just try to take it a pitch at a time and not get too far ahead of yourself.
Matt Byrne, ADG. As Omaha goes back to a double elimination format, and that could put a strain on innings, how does that affect your strategy with respect to your starters, 2 guys that have proven that they can go really far?
Yeah, I think it's different. I think, which side of the bracket you're on is different. And it's kind of condensed down because you don't have those 1-1 games where you get the extra day off anymore. If you're on our side of the bracket and you lose one of the first 2, there's no more days off and you play straight through. I think, and kind of going back to that previous question, playing 4 days in a row in 23, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you have to be on everything in terms of rest, recovery, how you set your pitching, matching up. And I do feel like our staff, we've developed enough depth that, one loss is not a death sentence for us because we can, go into the well and have guys that have started and come out of the bullpen and all of those types of things. I made this comment the other day. I would love to try this thing through the winner's bracket once. That would be awesome. But I feel like our team's built for anything.
Chessa Boucher with NBC 33 in Baton Rouge. Coach, the 2023 team had a ton of stars. Tommy White, Paul Skeen.